Hey, this is Ben Solomon, and welcome to this episode of the Techno Leadership Show. In this episode, I want to cover something that's really important, whether you're in a technology engineering professional role or you're in management or executive leadership role. Unless you're in an organization that has such a big team where you have a complete procurement team, in most cases, you will play some part in this whole progression to get finance for projects, for support, for staffing, all of those aspects. For example, if you are, let's say, a help desk staff member, and your organization is such that all of the back-end aspects like the infrastructure is being managed by a managed service provider, just as an example, and you're the only help desk / system admin in the organization that works on site, and you start seeing that your organization's or like your help desk is always busy, you don't have the support that you need, it's contingent on you in some way or form to put in a proposal of sorts to get additional help. And that always means talking about finance. Similarly, if you're in a management role or in a senior technical role where you need to do a particular project or get the support that you need internally or externally, again, proposals need to be done. And even if we have a manager on top of us, when we can do the project proposal, articulate it well, and then send it to them, making their job easier, because you can articulate the things better in that stage because you're looking at all the tactical aspects that are required and the costs that would be incurred, all the extra bits and pieces that need to be covered for, and go to your manager and present it. They can then take that on, add the strategic aspects that are required, give 3 options or so to executive management, the board, so that you can get funding for your project. So in doing all that, the thing that we tend to not sometimes do, and it's no fault of anyone, it's just that we are not educated in that aspect of it, especially if you've gone and done engineering or, technology courses and gotten into the roles. You've got to learn this pretty much on the fly while you're working, watching your mentors, managers do it. And that's about understanding how to get that finance, how to get the support of your financial team so that you can get your projects funded and funded in such a way that the people in the financial area of your business actually support you and actually go to executive leadership groups and put forward your proposal as something that's a must be done, must be funded project. So the thing that led to all of this in my initial years, after the first few years where I was working in an organization where I had direct contact with the owner of the business, I then started working in organizations where I was a contractor going in, providing services of technical support, providing infrastructure support, providing architecture services, and all of those aspects. So what happened is, yes, I had to do technical support that was front-facing, but then anything else that came from an infrastructure and architecture sort of background that needed to go into projects, I had to find a way to put proposals forward. And in a lot of cases, I would go get quotes, do all of the things that we generally tend to do, put it all together and go and say, hey, look, this project is going to cost us $25,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. And without, enough justification in there for it. So yes, I'd get called into meetings and they'd be like, okay, explain to us why we need to put $100,000 into this aspect when everything's working fine. Like what they perceive as working fine is there doesn't seem to be fires burning, everyone seems to be able to do their job, sort of thing. But from a perspective of someone who is managing all that, you understand that if they're not covered by warranty, if they don't have the right capabilities, you won't be able to support it well. And if something goes wrong, then the whole organization could potentially be down. And these were back in the days when we didn't have virtual machines and everything was on physical hardware. So if you didn't have the right hardware, and in some of the places that I worked at, we had desktop hardware doing server workloads, which is not nice. Scary for me as a tech person. So yeah, all of that, and I would justify it from a technical aspect, saying, we need to do this because this is best practice, or this will happen, these are the potential consequences, sort of thing. And a lot of the times things didn't get funded, and then the consequence happens maybe 3 or 6 months down the track. And then everyone goes, why didn't anyone talk about this and tell us why, this would happen? And I'd have to kind of sheepishly go and say, hey, look, 6 months ago, I brought this proposal to you and said that this project would cost X amount of dollars. But, like you said, that wasn't needed and we couldn't fund it. And now, unfortunately, we're in a situation where, we've got to get at least 30, 50, whatever $1,000 by tomorrow, day after tomorrow, to get all these things sorted out. And it might seem like bad planning and all those sort of things. And back then, even though I did all the planning, I didn't know how to convey it across to the right people. Then, as I've said in some episodes in the past, I've gone and worked on starting a business on the side, did all those aspects, and from doing things for that business, for sales, managing teams, managing people, copywriting, all of those aspects, actually learned that to convey anything, you need to convey it from the point of view of the person that you are talking to, which means if you want to get funding for your project, you don't go in saying, we need to have this state-of-the-art server or infrastructure or switching or whatever it might be. But going in, figuring out what the fears of the people in charge are. If the people in charge are afraid that their staff would not be productive if the internet goes down or the network goes down or the server system goes down, or that the server security, because they have files in there that are of high importance due to privacy laws and other things that need to be protected with the right kind of protection. All of that, when you understand what they want, what are they held to by this board, by external regulations, all of those sort of things, and then find out from them one-on-one if possible, what do they expect should be the experience for their staff, for themselves, and for the operation of the business. And then from there, from that perspective, start writing things out. Do your risk assessments, do your risk management documents, all of that from the perspective of what the owner or the CEO, CIO, or of the business, or the director, executive level people have said. This is what we expect should be the kind of reliability or security or safety that we want for this business. So when we start from the point of view of what they want, what they expect, then we can go to them and say, hey, we need to do this project to renew the infrastructure of the business. Yes, it doesn't seem like it's going to affect operations, but these are all the risks that we are carrying at the moment, and the potential for loss of reputation, loss of data, loss of all of these things. Bring it all together, and be honest. Like, you don't have to make things up. In any organization, there's always things to improve to match the standard that they have to stay up to, the regulatory standards, legal standards, all of those sort of things. So you can bring those in. And the fears of the people that are in power. And the financial controllers, like, they might say, oh, we don't have money. But if you ask them, okay, that's fine, you're saying you don't have money, but have you considered the fact, if this happens, this is going to happen, which means all of our staff are not going to be able to do their job? Are we willing to take that risk? And if they're willing to take the risk, write it down physically and email them so that they're aware of it. And if in the future you get pulled up saying, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you suggest this in the past, you can say, hey, 6 months ago I had this full proposal. I explained these are the risks that we're carrying, these are the implications, and if we don't get it done in this period of time, these are the potential loss in productivity, loss in security, safety, all of those aspects in there. In most cases, most people with common sense and operating with the mindset of ensuring that we all work together to ensure the business does the best possible thing that they can do as a business to get the best possible outcomes for the customers, for the staff, for everyone involved. They would look at these things and make sure that there is budget set aside. But there are business leaders who still have the mindset that IT is just an operational cost. Again, even if they think that way, we need to bring it back and say, hey, yes, it's an operational cost, which means if all these things are not done and not done to the standard, it's an operational risk. So you see, anything and everything that we do, it has to tie back to something tangible that affects the productivity, affects the bottom line, affects the reputation of the business, all of those sort of things. And these are things that keep executive leaders up at night. Having been in that level, having, had to deal with these aspects from the perspective of data security, data breaches, all of that. It's something that keeps us awake at night in management levels as well as in executive leadership levels, because we are held responsible for all the things below us. And in today's day and age, in most industries, the pervasiveness of IT, technology, engineering aspects means that everything is dependent on this. And as much as people might want to ignore it, it is there. And it's an ubiquitous part of running business these days. And which means any holes in security, in terms of data, in terms of all of these aspects, will come back to us as managers, directors, VPs, also sort of roles in different forms. So we have to make sure we build good relations with our financial team, procurement team if you've got that, and with our executive leaders, so that we can present things from the perspective of what keeps them up at night and things that would affect them at that level, making sure that we tie every project that we put in, every financial request that we put in, back to those things. And when it's done that way, and we give them options saying, look, option one, this is the Rolls-Royce, the best possible outcome, which means we get all these benefits. Middle of the line, it's not exactly budget, but gets the job done while keeping us on as updated as possible. And then the lowest end would be the absolute critical things that need to get done to keep us compliant. And then they can make the decision, and why making the decision to get the best package that you've put together, the Rolls-Royce system, would be best for the business in the long term. You've got to give them the short-term benefits and the long-term vision, and connect back to the vision that they have for the business. When that's connected and you have a good visionary leader, it's dynamite. It all works together. They want you to come and tell them how their visions can be made possible by the things that you're putting in place for them. And when you work synchronistically, you achieve outcomes that you can't achieve in traditional silos, where the technology department's a silo, other fulfillment and distribution systems are, and the different teams are in different silo, and all those aspects. We can all work together and get the outcomes that we want. So if we want to look at it from the takeaway perspective, is always, even if you're lower level engineering technology professional, have a good relationship with people in your financial departments and in your executive leadership. Because sometimes your manager or your exec might put in a request, and another member of the exec team who might see you somewhere goes, hey, I'm hearing that you guys need this thing done. What's the story? And, if you have good relationship with them, you can again tie back and say, hey, these are the things that's going on. If we do that project, then it'll be able to get all these benefits for the business, and that's what we're trying to achieve. And seeing that everyone's on the same page, again, helps get that. So building relationships, knowing what the fears of the people are in the business, and these are legitimate things. It's not like you're trying to misuse it. You're using it so that you can actually do what they want to get done in the business, and they support you, you support them. That's pretty much what commerce is all about. And then putting everything in the form of benefits and how it's gonna give them peace of mind. If you can show both sides of it, how they get safety, peace of mind, and how they get benefits, and make them feel like their visions, their goals can be achieved by the projects that you're doing, that helps a lot in getting these projects funded and done. So that's pretty much the secret of getting funded for projects. That works in most cases. Yes, there are hardened cases where people are just like, no, IT, and just make do with the lowest possible budget. In those sort of places, you also tend to get a feel that people in leadership don't really care about others. They just care about their own silos, and them feeling like they are leaders and managers when they don't know even the meaning of leadership. And that's probably not the best place to be if you want to thrive and actually have a career that creates impact. Things to think about. So I wish you all the best in your journey as a tech professional, manager, and leader. If you like this episode, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button so that you're notified of future episodes as they are released. If you have any questions or would like me to cover other topics around leadership, management, around teams, around projects, around any aspects of engineering and technology, please ask away, and I will cover them to the best of my ability with things that I have done, so that you can use this as inspiration. It's not about anything that I say being the be-all, end-all, the one way to do it. No, it's just inspiration to help you open your mind to what's possible and how things can be tackled from a different perspective and achieve the outcomes that you are tasked with achieving as a professional, as a manager, and as an executive leader. So have a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you in a future episode. Take care.